Hello everybody, how we doing? Just wanted to get this flight out of the way. I know we're doing later than usual, but we're gonna go for it. I'm also trying out this XVID camera on the webcam. Made some backgrounds and everything. Yeah, looks okay. You know, could probably be better, but we'll just leave it the way it is. Alright, I got one more posting to make on a forum to share this stream. And then we will start flying here. So give me 1 second, please. Here we go. All right. All right. Hope we're all doing good tonight, and that everything's going well. Again, I'm trying to do a flight at night. Usually doesn't happen, but we're gonna make it happen tonight. So, turn down the microphone a little bit. Yeah, good. All right. So tonight's flight, as you can probably tell from reading on the bottom, is Pensacola, Florida, where we left off today, to Gulfport, Mississippi. This will be the last time that we're in Florida for my around the United States flights. So it should be cool. Really easy flight. Take us about 59 minutes to get there. And we're gonna fly it real time. So, in fact, let me load real time just to make sure it's there. That might reload the simulator a second. There you go. Alright, I'll leave it there. Actually, I forgot to fuel the plane. Let's make sure the plane is fueled. I mean, I probably would have enough. I need 15.1 and I have 40 gallons in there, but let's go full anyways. I like seeing how much fuel I actually burn for real, because that's all estimated, along with 7.5 gallons, because it's a nighttime VFR flight. So that's required by the FAA for spare fuel that you need over that. And actually, that wasn't the fuel. No, I got the wrong one here. Give me a second. Flight plan. Here we go. 18.4 gallons. It'll still take us 59 minutes. And should be a nice calm flight. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. I'll look one more time on Sky Vector, but the weather looked pretty good, and it usually is at night. So here we are, right here we got clear, clear, and clear. So like I said, it's gonna be a good night for flying. Shouldn't have to worry about any clouds out there, so we're hopeful. Alright, let's get this plane started. Houston Center is eventually on when I get over there. We're doing a radio check with them. But alright, seat, track, back, locked. Avionics off. Autopilot, don't have it. Carb heat off. We have to turn the panel lights on, so here we go. Make this as fast as possible. Alright, carb heat's off. Mixture, full rich, beacon on. Alright. Throttle slight. There we go. Prime, 2 shots prime. 1, 2. Brakes are set. Clear prop. Master on. It is. Master start. Good. Alright, we're gonna test this trim wheel. There you go. USB's working. Beautiful. Oil pressure would be in the green against the Coronado, so it doesn't have this gauge work correctly. Light test required. Let's put the taxi in the landing already. And the nav lights. Double check that they're working. Yep. And yep. No strobes yet. Do that a little later. I don't want to blind anyone. Alright. With that, seatbelt harnesses, flaps up. heat vent defrost. Again, we're in Florida. Cabin air is going on. And it is 80 degrees out there, so pretty hot still. Oh, avionics on, it's set. Radios go on. Transponder goes on. Follow the flight plan one more time. Good. We filed for 4,500. ADDONS. Let's get my radio here. It might be in there still.
Pensacola Airport
yes, it is.
Information, India, 04389er Zulu. Wind, calm. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,000. Few clouds at 8,700. Temperature 262.23. Altimeter 299.7. ILS, runway 17 in use. Landing and departing runway 17. VFR aircraft stay direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have India. Pensacola Airport Information, India, 04389er Zulu. Wind, calm. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,000. Few clouds at 8,700.
Altimeter set. Radio check. Let's go Houston Center. 134.425.
Runway 17. VFR aircraft stay direction of flight.
Houston Center, November 489 or Echo Foxtrot, radio check please. Okie dokie. One 134.425. I might be out of range. It says I'm in range though. Not really in range. Try it one more time. Houston Center, November 489 or Echo Foxtrot, radio check please. Alright, well, we're gonna be on the VAT Sim Unicom anyway, so let's get... Interesting. Oh, hopefully he gets us when we get over there. 122.8, VAT Sim Unicom. Try it. VAT Sim Unicom, November 489 Echo Foxtrot, radio check please. Nope. It's alright. Alright, let's kill update here. 222. See if anyone's around me. I don't think there will be. Nope. But I will show you this. Here's what we're doing. A straight shot. Pensacola, Gulfport, Mississippi. Right there on the coast. So, it's as straight as it gets. So, that's where we're going. Alright. With that. Oh, taxi light is required. Brakes test on the way out. We're going runway 17. And we need to do a run up. Eventually. So, come on short. 17. I'm gonna go down Delta, down Alpha, Alpha 1. Okay. Pensacola traffic, Cessna 9 Echo Foxtrot, taxiing runway 17 via Delta, Alpha, Alpha 1, Pensacola. Looks good. It's Delta 6 in front of us. Delta's this way. I'm on grass. Okay, good. There's no taxi line. That's the problem. Alright. Oh, I got ya. Yeah, I have to go to Delta 6. Alright. That was good. Really good. So much easier in real life. But, you know, we do what we can. Where the hell is the taxiway? Alright. Oh my god. Dude. Alright. Diagram's not much help here until I get a taxi line. Here we go. Delta 6. There we go. Taking a left on to Delta. So if you're watching this, let me know what you think of the expert camera, because I did not buy it, obviously. I'm just testing it out, which is why you have the watermark. But, tried to make a background. It's like a fake green screen, basically. So, I don't know what you think. Pensacola traffic says the 9er Echo Foxtrot crossing runway 3517 at Delta, Pensacola. Clear. Clear. Take our next right onto Alpha. As long as the taxiway is alright, which they look to be. Pensacola traffic says in that Echo Foxtrot crossing runway 826 at Alpha, Pensacola. There we go. Main terminal's over there. You're not gonna see any traffic, but you would if it wasn't for VATSIM. No one's here right now, so. Some cargo parking coming up. I'm gonna share that really fast, do a run up. default scenery on this one as well, so no exciting airport scenery at either airport. I think the OrbX freeware airport sort of series is this though, so I think that's why it looks a little bit better than default. And Gulfport looked kind of the same, so. Alright, there's supposed to be an apron over here. And there's not, but I'm gonna do the run up over here, so. See if I can turn off a little bit. Yep. Nope. Yes. Alright. Good enough because it's calm wind, so it's going to be the same either way around. Usually try to do it into the wind for your run up, so. Alright, brakes are set, fuel set to both, trim set to takeoff, flight controls, in, right, left, in, center, instruments, trunk ranger's in the middle, no flag, heading indicator looks good, compass, vertical speed looks good, altimeter looks good, horizon looks good, and the airspeed looks good. Mixture, best power, we'll leave it where it is. You could lean it out a little bit if you want to, but we're good. Primer and launch, we give it a little tug, make sure it's locked. 1700. Right magneto. No more than 125 RPM drop. Good. Back to both. Left. Good. Back to both. Carpeed on. RPM should drop a little bit. So they did. Alright. Suction, which is needed for instruments, looks good. It's in the green. Oil temperature, oil pressure in the green. Amps will be charging slightly, excuse me. And this gauge doesn't work, but you'd see the needle go a little bit to right. And if it's in the negative, you got a problem. Like alternator's not working or something like that. Alright, idling. Sure it doesn't conk out. Good. Carpet off. Back to 1,000. Try to do a brief and not forget it this time, because last flight I did, but we didn't have any problems, so we're lucky. Alright, left turn, runway 17. It's just a straight shot over to Gulfport. Just take us around an hour. So let's get a little bit more around this, around the USA flights that I planned for the summer, which is probably going to go into the fall. But we'll be okay. School as well, where I still rent Plymouth. Pretty good flight school, can't complain. Couple issues, but nothing terrible. Things out of their control, but the training was great, so. Just the planes going down from here and there. Whoop. What's that? I'll check V-Pilot. No, just connected from the voice server. Awesome. Alright, finish the run-up. Briefing. If we're on the takeoff roll and there's some problem, mechanical mercy or otherwise, we will abort takeoff as long as enough available runway ahead of us and land directly ahead of the runway. If we're under 800 feet and there's a problem, mechanical mercy or otherwise, We'll land directly ahead and with a more than 30-degree turns, best glide speed is 65. For above 800 feet, this is problem mechanical emergency otherwise. We will take a turn to the left and land downwind on the grass, the taxiway, the runway, whatever is available to us. I can't hear it because it echoes in the headphones, sorry. And the best glide speed is 65. Alright, with that, we're good to go. No one on downwind, no one on base, no one on final. I'd also check crosswind, but I can't really do that in the sim. And I'm going to call it. Pensacola traffic says a 9er Echo Foxtrot departing runway 17, departure to the west, Pensacola. And here we go, we're turning the strobes on this time. Big runway, but it is international airport, so. Alright, on the floor, here we go. Rotate at 55, climb at 73. Get to pad and altitude, take a turn to the left, 45 degrees, and then turn on course. So, got turned to 269 eventually. So. Jet pattern and altitude turboprop. So I'm going to take a turn to the right now. Just clear on the right. And we'll turn 272-ish. Said 269 though, right? Yeah. 269, 272 is what the GPS is showing. So. There we go. Keep climbing here. Trim up. First checkpoint is Foley, which is an airport out west. So 27 nautical miles away. Shut there in 20 minutes. That's the only thing about this virtual green screen is that it loses my face sometimes. If it worked all the time, it'd be pretty good. So I don't know. You sit in the right place with the right amount of light, it works. I have a green screen also, but it's a pain to set up, to leave up, especially with the kids. So gotta lean the mixture a little bit. Right about there. Let's take a look outside. So that's Pensacola out there. Goodbye, Pensacola. Just a straight shot to Gulfport. Lots of stars in the sky, clear night. And also the Milky Way galaxy back there. So, pretty cool. Okay, coming up on 4,500, we'll level out. Then we'll need to make sure if we have to go from there. Losing my face. It's annoying. Good news is that background, see that I made it a certain way. I can use that with a regular green screen if I wanted to. So, just trying things out. Usually you should not have to set up a green screen to do it, but I might not even do it at that point. But, we'll see. That out there is Pensacola Naval Air Station. So, a lot of military operations over here. If you're joining us, thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoy the flight tonight. It's going to be a little bit of a late night for myself. It's already 1 a.m. out here. And, still have trash to take out for tomorrow morning. So I'll be doing that after the flight. It's all good. surprised that Houston Center couldn't hear me. So I'm hoping that when we get there, if they're still on, we'll have something. So, back to the voice server again. That's always good. Okay. See if we can lean in a little bit more. Right about there, we're good. Nope, voiceover just disconnected again. So my face keeps disappearing. So I don't know about this XSplit VCam. Let's see. I've got lights, but they may look really white. Watch this. Dim it a little bit. I guess it's a little bit better, but it's not the best. I think the last time I updated my log, clear logs, real world, I haven't flown in like 2 weeks. I think 130 to 140 hours. Flying at night, you're not going to have as many visual cues, and so you want to really make sure you have your planning and also know where the clouds are, because if you go in the clouds you can't see them as easy. So this light's terrible. I'm going to turn that off, but stuff you can't handle. The other thing is too is practice some takeoffs and landings. I know they make that for passengers. You have 3 full stops to take passengers at night, but it's better just do them yourself, even if you haven't flown in a while at night. And biggest thing is that you won't see much out there except for cities and lights. So any bodies of water or anything like that, when you pick your checkpoints, try to pick stuff that has lights or that's huge to see, because it's not as easy to pick it out. Like our first checkpoint here is an airport. Foley 5 Romeo 4, which should be coming up in 10 minutes. And I also have the GPS. GPS doesn't hurt, but when you're in training, don't use the GPS because you want to get used to the sectional and how to use it without having your plane tracked. And they're going to test you on that too, for the check ride. They'll just say, okay, where are we? Can you show me where we are on the sectional? And you have to triangulate between like 2 VORs. So, any other questions, just keep sending them my way. I'll try to answer them best I can. Next real world flight should be Friday, hopefully, the 152. I'm going to try to put on the e-bike in the back again and go to Martha's Vineyard and bike around it. So that's the plan. Hopefully that happens. I've gotten the bike in the back of the 152 before, so I get this major echo in my headphones. So it makes it hard to talk sometimes. I turn it off, but wait a second. Can you still hear me? Top of descent, top of climb. I'm going to be honest with you, I estimate that. I just say 1 minute for every 1,000 feet. So, for example, tonight, I said 4,500 for my cruising altitude. Can you still hear me? Let's make sure you can. Let me know before I go on. Oh, hopefully you can hear me. But, so, 1,000 for a minute for every 1,000 feet. So I said it's 5 minutes to top a climb. I overestimate. If you go by the POH, the POH says that, it's with like certain winds, and the winds are going to push against you or not, so it's better just to average, and then I'll check on my first checkpoint. I'm cruising at 4,500, so I said 5 minutes top a climb, plus the checkpoint time of 15 minutes. So 5 plus 15 means it's going to take me about 20 minutes to get to my first checkpoint. And what we'll do, so I've had my D2 pilot watch here, Garmin, and I'm just going to compare the times when I get there, and then just all the other times, and it'll give me a pretty good basic reading on where I should be at all the other checkpoints. So, I actually have a video on the Airflight channel, really basic. Yeah, it's indicated airspeed, but that's why, and you have to figure in the winds and stuff like that, because obviously the winds change. So you don't know if it's going to work again. You have a headwind, you have a tailwind. It might take longer or shorter to get to your altitude. So I was trained to just basically say 1,000 feet in a minute, go from there. If you really want to get highly technical, go by the POH. But I've always used this technique and it serves me well. I got on my stopwatch, which I forgot to start right away, by the way, because in the real life this just starts when you take off. I got 13 minutes, so it should be like 7 minutes to fully, but it's probably going to be a little less than that. And top of descent, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really worry about that as much, because it kind of all works out with the checkpoints. Usually by the second to last checkpoint, you're right near the airport anyway, so for a VFR pilot, sorry that my face keeps disappearing. For a VFR pilot, we don't worry about top of descent as much. I just kind of count to the last checkpoint based on the ground speed I calculated. So for tonight, I said it's 9 minutes from 5 Romeo 2 to Gulfport, and that's what we stick with. But by the time I get to 5 Romeo 2, I'm pretty much just looking to get to the airport around 9 minutes or so. It's all an estimation. So, again, that's all in the POH too. They're going to give you every single formula you need in the POH. But on my check ride, I just estimated, and he was fine with that. I just had to tell him, it's in the POH, here's where it is, this is how it's calculated, this is what I did to estimate it. So, and it works out every time. So, these flights are where I keep my cross-country skills going, because a lot of time I just do small little legs in the real world, and I've been doing a couple cross countries lately. There's my latest video is going from Plymouth, Massachusetts to Nashua, New Hampshire, and that was a cross country over Class B, so that was a good practice as well. So, well, the E6B will calculate all your ground speeds and stuff based on your wind correction angle and this and that. So, again, if you watch that video, it's long, it's a little bit boring, but it will go over everything. I'll try to get you the link, actually. Give me a second here. Because that will answer a lot more than I can just say in the stream. Just give me 1 second. Everything isn't digitized unless you want it to be. I didn't start using the electronic flight bag till after I got out of training, and I'm talking real world. I was always using it on the sim to practice it. So just doing it in real world, it was just a transition over. But let me get you that link. As weight and balance. It's a long one though, I warn you now, but you might have to watch it a couple times. But here you go, sending the link to you. There you go. As far as electronic flight bag, hit my waypoint here. Let's check outside. Right there is fully. And again, with the GPS, it makes it easy to find that, but you could definitely see that outside the window at night, which is why I want to pick there. And I do use dead reckoning. Yeah, use dead reckoning because you have your magnetic heading, which is all calculated from the E6B and everything, and then you adjust as you need. Like, I know if that's supposed to be off the left there, which it is. We also got there at like 16 minutes. So I'm going to write that down right now, my flight plan. So I'm 4 minutes ahead of the 20, but that's because it didn't take me as long to get to 4,500. So now every checkpoint's going to be 4 minutes less, and they'll give me a rough estimate on where we should be at a certain time. So, but watch that video, I'll kind of go over it. And I also teach you an important lesson in that one, because I actually did that planning for a real-world flight from Plymouth to Block Island, Rhode Island. And one of the important things that I planned for in that helped me out that day. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it to you to watch it. So, but biggest element you should learn, honestly, fly the plane. The POH and all that calculations and stuff, that's going to come after you learn how to fly the plane, most likely. They have the pre-solo test that you have to take before you solo, just to make sure you know all the stuff before you go up there and do a traffic pattern 3 times. And again, there's lots of videos on that. I was a little bit of a rookie when I did some of them, so I might mispronounce things. But stick and rudder, yeah. Do it I'm flying everything by hand on the simulator too. I do not use autopilot in the real world, nor on the simulator anymore. I just fly GA, that was good. GA with 152, 172, just like real life. And eventually I'll get my instrument rating, hopefully. That's the plan, hopefully next year. We'll have to see how COVID goes and this and that. But, alright, next checkpoint, just to break up really fast, is Kilo Bravo Foxtrot Mike, which is way off. No, it's not off in the distance. Oh, it's Mobile, downtown airport. We'll see that off the right side, way far in the distance, but we should be able to see some lights. So, aerobatics, I'm not into it, only because I'm not looking to do stunts. I just really want to fly to go places and do things. So, checkpoints should be about every 10 nautical miles. I mean, I kind of stretch that out on the simulator and even in real life now. But I also have the GPS and a backup of the same program on my phone. So redundancy is a must. If you're doing it, though, by plotter and sectional, I'd say about every 10 nautical miles you should have a checkpoint. So, aerobatics are cool, though, if you want to do them. And yeah, I have the paper sectional in the flight bag at all times in case I lose the GPS and my phone doesn't work for some reason. I always have a backup for everything. So that came in handy again because that Block Island flight I actually planned for in that video I shared with you. I actually forgot my whole tablet at home. So what I did was I used my phone with the same app, the Avera app, it's free. And I used that to use as GPS, but I also had to redo my whole written flight plan, which looks like this. I just digitized it, so I can use my stylus. But you do all your calculations on that. I don't know if you can see it. No, I don't think you can see it, sorry. But, PH use is indicated. Ground speed, I use my ground speed for everything, and I just add, again, a minute for every 1,000 feet that you're going to climb. So seeing that we're at 4,500, I just said it's 5 minutes top of climb, plus the first leg distance of 27 nautical miles would take 15 minutes to get there. So I said it would take 20, but it only took me 16, so therefore all the other checkpoints you just minus 4 minutes off, and it'll give you a pretty good, basically accurate where you are in the flight. So, and I overestimate fuel as well. So, but again, the POH is very literal and it's very to the point. Always overestimate fuel for safety. I should be burning at 8.7 gallons per hour, but I always say 10, so I have more. And the POH even estimates like run-up gas usage 1.1, so. Flight plan services. Well, I think you mean the briefer. you want to have the flight plan, the standard flight plan all ready to go. I do everything online now because they made it easier, but when you're going for your private, you just go right through the flight plan. It should be all numbered and everything. It should. Let me see if I have a copy. Because I still have all this stuff saved just in case. See if I can show it to you while we're flying here. Next checkpoint, we're still a little bit out far out. Supposed to be there in 26 minutes. So about 5 minutes out, 4.5. See if I can get that. Give me 1 second. Everything's on my Google Drive too, so that way, if I forget something or flight log, here's the Icao flight plan. All right. We download it. All right. Really quick, I made this little template for myself because they changed to the Icao format right towards the end of my training here. So you see how it's all numbered? You say, go right down the list. You say like November 489990, VFR, general aviation flights, 1 aircraft type Cessna 152, wake turbulence, lights, aircraft codes, depends on what's in the plane. I think it's CU1 for the 152 I fly. Say departure, Kilo Papa Yankee Mike, and you tell them the date, Zulu time, your cruising speed in knots. I'd say it's 100 indicated airspeed. Indicated? Give me a second. No, 100 true airspeed. Level. That's your altitude. So you say 4,500. So that's cool. Again, there's a bunch of codes down here that you have to do. But you fill this all out, and you just read it right off to them in order. And they're going to get that. And if you didn't give them something or they didn't understand something, they're going to just ask for it while you're on the phone. So, sure. Give me a second. I want to share it with you. You can even make a copy, honestly. So, give me a second. I gave this to my flight school too because they were looking for one. So, here you go. I don't have one filled out, but there are tutorials online. I really don't do that for flight simming. In real world, like I said, I do it all online now. If you go to 1-800-WXBrief.com, they have the same form online. You have to sign up for an account, but just don't file a flight plan unless you're doing it. You can fill one out though and save it and get used to it. So, because that's how I made that. I looked at the online website and then made it into a paper format. So, all right. Bravo Foxtrot Mike should be on all right. The distance, you can kind of see it right there. See what I'm saying about nighttime flying though? That's what makes it tough. You'd have to see some lights. You can't see anything else except for this city. And I know it's right around the city too, so that's another checkpoint visual that I can use to get to it. But I'm right about there, and the GPS is reassuring me on that. Without the GPS, you gotta look for this stuff though, so. Oh yeah, and it's like that in real life, yep. Winds aloft, I'll show you what I do for that. Winds aloft, basically, real life you go online, and for the sim, I use ActiveSky. So I go to briefing. The briefer will give you the winds aloft if you need them too. And then you kind of estimate them like by waypoint. I'm just going between the two airports, so I'll estimate 158 plus 266 divided by 2 gives me the average winds at direction of 212. The winds are about 2. It's about 2, so it's MSL because basically you're going to go by the altitude in the plane. So, and again, the wind direction, I'm just using what you see here. I don't go nuts. I estimate a lot, and it's worked out for me. So, the POH can be very, very anal, because it's all scientific. They actually had test pilots go up there and say, this is what it is, but there are different conditions. You got different winds, different situations, and they'll throw those numbers off just a little bit. So it is to a point, but you gotta understand that it'll say like in no wind conditions or this and that, so you still have to estimate a little bit sometimes. So, alright, our next checkpoint was 26 minutes right on the dot. So now you see that it's all lining up with our plan, even though we had to take off 4 minutes. What wind direction do I use? Well, the wind's aloft. I'll get you the nighttime requirements in a second. The winds aloft are by like a region. So like where I fly from Plymouth, I'll use the Boston winds aloft, and they're for certain times. So if you're flying in between times, you'll average out the two different times. So, give me a second here as I update this. Alright, Moss Point is our next checkpoint, and that is a big town that's going to be on our left in about 13 minutes. So, alright. So, wind direction, top of climb, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I know where it is in the POH, I know how to calculate it, but I just estimate it all, you know? It works out for me. Like right now, it's perfect. 26 minutes, that's right there. And 39 minutes, I should be at the other airport. If I'm off by like a minute, it's dead reckoning. It's as long as you're not off by like a lot, you're good, and you know where you are. So, I am using both pilotage and dead reckoning, and I'm using the GPS to back me up, which makes it a lot easier, obviously, because if you can't see something, if you trust the GPS, that is, you know exactly where to look for stuff and where you are. Whereas in the real world, if you get lost, you don't have GPS, you're going to dial in some VORs, you're going to see where the to and from kind of triangulate together, and right where it triangulates together is where you should be about. So, for private pilot, you want to use dead reckoning. Yeah, you want to calculate everything in advance. So they'll go over that with you, just like that video I made. So, and you know, people, if you don't use it, like this is why I do the flight simming. So you can use pilotage if you want to, but I wouldn't do that on the check ride because they're gonna make sure that you know how to do dead reckoning with pilotage and getting to places by visual cues and, you know, knowing how to plan out a flight. So, what I will do for dead reckoning, if I'm going to like Martha's Vineyard from Plymouth, I know it's like a 280-ish direction from there. So, I'll just head the plane to 280, and I will look for basically the islands over Buzzards Bay, and I know where you're going. Well, at that point, you gotta land the plane as soon as possible. I also get back to your thing about the FAA requirements for night flight. But if you use your vacuum, first off, there's an alternate static if you ever lost that. But if you did that, you're gonna use whatever visual acuity you have left. On some tablets, if you have like an ADSB receiver like me, it will sometimes have like an artificial horizon that you could have go up there. But you want to basically keep the lights on the bottom, stars on the top, and just try to do that and land as soon as possible. Because at night, I'm not taking chances with that, so probably not going to continue flying. So, you got to make the proper decision for yourself. So, alright, getting back to FAA nighttime requirements. Pretty much if you're going to carry passengers, you have to do 3 full stop landings. That means you have to take off, land, get off to the taxiway, start it over again by taxiing all the way down 3 times. And that's for 90 days. So right now, I haven't done nighttime landing since, I think, January. I couldn't take any passengers during the night, but let's say I got to the airport with my passengers, and I said, wait a minute, I did my 3 full stop landings, and I just picked them up right after that. I'm good. That's good for the next 90 days. As far as fuel requirements, you're supposed to keep an extra 45 minutes of fuel in the tank. So that's why when I calculated tonight's flight, I said it's going to take 9.8 gallons just to fly there. Then another 7.5 gallons for 3 at night, yes. I think it's actually 10 at night. You have to do 10 landings at night. I can't remember that. I think I did like 12. So, but definitely something you want to get used to anyways, because let's say you get delayed or something due to weather, and you're able to go back because the weather conditions are good, you just got to go back at night. You want to be somewhat used to it, you know? Like right now, not a lot to look at. GPS definitely helps. Like if I look at the GPS, I know that's Bayou Labatra out here. So I know where I am, and I can see where I am and keep an idea of where I am in case something happens. But I think it's 10 landings, 10 nighttime landings. It's not only an hour requirement. I have to double check that, so. Checking it out right now. Yeah, 10 landings to full stop, so. 10 takeoffs or landings to a full stop, each landing involving a flight in the traffic pattern. So, you know, depends. 10 takeoffs or landings in the traffic pattern. So you gotta do the loop around the airport. So, but if you've been watching, I'm just keeping the DG, which I'm gonna update the compass there. Good. Keeping it around 269, which is what I calculated, and it's 3 full stop landings. So if I want to pick up passengers at night again, I have to do 3 full stop landings an hour after civil twilight. So there's the sunset time, and then there's an hour after that, and you got to go after that. So the last time I did nighttime landings, it was interesting because I had gusts up to 21 knots, and yep, the night cross country, I think it's just a dual. Let me double check that. I can't remember everything that I did. Took me a while. So 3 hours of flight training by reference of instruments. Yep. I don't think there's any solo nighttime cross countries. I got to be honest with you. There's just a 10 takeoffs and landings to full stop at night. I know that one of my dual cross countries, we did make it so that I came back at night, so I got some more night landings out. And you do need a solo endorsement every single time. Not for, well, the solo endorsement is covering whatever you plan, so they have to sign you off. So I guess if you're good enough to go at night, they could. You need to make sure that your flight instructor knows that you're good to go. I know on my solo cross countries, I had to show them my flight planning and stuff and explain things to them. So no. They just want 10 takeoffs and landings at night while doing the traffic pattern. So typically you can tie that into other things, which will make it sometimes cheaper for you, sometimes not. But you gotta do that with your instructor. So just to get used to nighttime landing. And they also teach you how to turn on the lights of the airport if you need to. So, looks like my airport, it's radio controlled lighting. So, which is one thing that most people don't understand coming from the flight sim, because there's no light activated lighting, runway activated lighting in the sim. So, not much to look at though, see that? So it's all just keeping that heading and looking for visual cues. The GPS definitely helps. Like I know that I'm looking for Moss Point up on the upper left. So this is probably it right around here. So 10 is the 10 nighttime landings and takeoffs that you have to do. That's the requirement for private pilot. There is no nighttime cross-country required, but again, my instructor kind of made me come back during the evening to get used to the night more, and also to do some of those landings at night. So I think we did like 3, because it's got to be a cumulative 10 hours. It's 3 hours cumulative of solo cross-country, and it says 3 hours of night flight training in a single-engine airplane. So, but it's going to include 1 cross-country flight. Yeah, so I guess I did do a nighttime. And, God, I can't remember half of what I did, eh? I did do it. I had a whole checklist. So, let me send you this link here. This is the requirements. It is 3 hours total at night, yep. So, check out that link. And right now, if I didn't have the GPS, I'd be looking for this city and going, oh, it's there. And I'd stay kind of like where I should be on the sectional, which you'd have. You'd have the line going through it, so you know where your flight path should be. And you should be good, so. I'd also know if there's a highway, Route 90, which I'd be looking for. Can maybe see a bunch of cars right there. So I know which way the highway is going, which way I'd have to go. I'll be paralleling that and then crossing it like I'm doing right now. So things like that, that's what you gotta look for at night. Because you can't go by lakes or anything as much because they're not as visible at night. So, and also, go to a clear night like this so that way you can see everything. Because if you have low flying clouds, at least with me right now, I wouldn't take off in that. So clear night, beautiful. I'll do it, no problem. I'll even go over water at clear night. But the whole thing is, gotta remember that most aviation accidents happen when the weather's pretty good. So just know your terrain, know where you're going, and know what's going on. So. It's a dual nighttime cross country, by the way. So that's why I remember it as a dual. So we did that. I think we went to Worcester, to Groton, Connecticut, without GPS, yep. So it's all like what I'm doing right now, just turning the GPS like this and going, okay, I keep my heading of 269, which I calculated in my flight planning, and here's Moss Point on my left. So I'm going to keep track of the time with the stopwatch, and I'm going to write that down as I go to keep track of where I am and if I hit that time, because if it's not, you know that you're off course, and then you make sure that you look at the sectional, which gives you the altitudes of everything around. There are these big numbers on the sectional, and they tell you the tallest. Yeah, the sectional tells you the tallest obstacle within a square of the sectional. So you plan your altitude accordingly. Like 4,500 is the lowest even altitude you could have above 3,000. It's kind of like where I like to be. When I did my flight in real life, if you go look at it, I did Perth to Nashua. I wanted to go over Class B, so I knew I had to be over 7,000, so I filed for 8,500. And the more altitude you have, the more time you have to find a place to land in case you have a problem. So, oh yeah. Yeah, I did everything on paper map when I did training. I didn't touch this at all with the GPS or anything like that. Yep. In fact, I think it's the proper way to learn, so that way if everything craps to bed, you have your paper sectional, you can do a lot with that. So, yep. Never fail. I always buy the updated sectional. I put it in the bag. I don't even really use it as much anymore, but it's in the bag in case anything fails. Alright, next checkpoint. And 39 minutes is right on track. That's what I got on my stopwatch. So, next one is Ocean Springs, 5 Romeo 2. We should get there in 6 minutes, and that's an airport that's going to be off to our left. Again, I'm looking at the Avera, but it's just a sectional, basically, and it has it mapped out, and it has my plane where it should be. But, windows are open. You'd be surprised, the doors, I mean, the windows and doors, the door in the 152 would open up here and there because the latch isn't very that strong, and the doors get pushed back with the wind, so, you know, you get used to that too. You're all strapped in anyway, so. In fact, that happened on my last 3 nighttime full stop landings, so. I turn ailerons first, and then I correct by looking at the ball right here with the rudder. So like, let's say I'll take a little turn to the left. First off, always make sure you're clear before you take a turn, so we're clear. Take a turn. And that ball's staying in the middle, but if it wasn't, I'd use rudder then to correct it and keep it in the middle. So, now I'll turn to the right, clear on the right, back to 269, and I don't have to use a lot of rudder here, but I would if that ball was slipping out of that center thing there, so. And then rudder to finally east raise it to the left. So that's almost a combination of aileron rudder at the same time, just to level it out. So ailerons first, rudder to help you keep the turn coordinated. So, and when you have it trimmed out like this, I haven't really touched the yoke much at all. So once you have it trimmed out, it's pretty good. V-speeds. I got a video on that, I think, too. Give me a second. But I will go over that. Well, that's an old video, so let me see. V-speeds, here we go. Alright, I'll send this to you. Yeah, you need, if you're going to do the deep bank turns, 45 degrees that you have to do, it's to control the yaw, to keep the nose where it has to be, it's to keep the turn coordinated so you're not fighting with your direction of turn. But that's the V-speeds video. Big ones to know are your best glide, your rotation, that's when you should pull back on the yoke when you get that speed on the runway. And best climb and best angle, because you need that for short field takeoffs. Those are the big three, and then the other ones are very important. Maneuvering speed is very important. I know on my check ride, he had a simulated engine fire. And so what I did was I put it into a steep bank turn to the left with a descent. Try to get the flames out. So, in this plane, if I'm taking off, I know that I'm going to pull back at 55. It's all different. It's on the checklist that I have. I use the checkmate checklists. It says VR, rotation speed is 55 knots. So I'll be down going on the runway full throttle. When it hits 55, I start yanking back the yoke, and it should go up. And then I'm going to drop the nose just a little bit to make sure it climbs at 73, which is the best rate to climb. So that means that you get the most altitude in the time that you have, because that's the most crucial time where you want to get altitude. It depends. I have a 172M checklist here. Give me a second. I know the 172M at my flight school has a miles per hour gauge. So, alright, here's what mine says. VR is 55 still. And I've used this in real life with this 172M. And the best rate to climb is 78 knots. I have to use miles per hour though. So, that would be rotation at 63 miles per hour. And the best rate of climb would be 90 miles per hour. It's all in the POH though. It depends on the POH for the model. Yeah, if you have a big headwind, you might have to keep it going a little bit longer down the runway, like extra 5 knots. I know in the 172P that I flew to Nashua, you'll hear the stall warning horn go off right before I get up there. And it's not different on the rotation speed. It's more that it won't get up to that speed right away if it's hotter weather, because it's less efficient for the propeller to turn because the air's less dense. If it's colder, it's more dense, so it has more to push off of when it cuts into the air with the propeller. So typically in colder weather, you need less runway to get up, and in hotter weather, you need more runway to get up, and that's all in the POH too. It has the runway length requirements for specific temperatures. So, it's all in the POH. So, it's a lot of stuff, but honestly it makes sense when you start studying for the written and get all that in your head. So, alright, we're about over Ocean Springs. We have a Class D in front of us, Kessler Air Force Base, but the top of it is 2,500. Right, exactly, yeah. Oh, you know, it all depends. I mean, I just kind of go by the POH and what it says, and, you know, it's also a feel thing. Like I said, that Nashua flight that I posted on Eric flight, the stall warning horn kind of came on right as I rotated at can't remember what it was a P model. Give me a second here. The P model says rotation at 55, but you have to climb at 76. So the compass you use to set the DG, and if the DG goes down, use the compass. So that's what you do. The compass is really there to help you correct the DG due to the electronics in the plane and the gyro. So, but worst case scenario, pull out a smartphone, get a compass. If you don't have your compass functioning, go to the DG. Alright, Ocean Springs was about 46 minutes. And this will be the last checkpoint I'm really going to check, but 46 what I had. So we should be at Gulfport in 9, but I'm probably going to overfly it. Oh, magnetic compass dip. That's, you want to remember there's an acronym they make you remember. Accelerate north, decelerate south. So if you're accelerating, the compass wants to go to the north slightly because the magnetic pull makes it go that way. And if you're decelerating, the compass moves to the south because again, the opposite pole is pulling it. So, honestly, you do need to know that. In the real life though, you really need to know that. If you know, I am actually a private pilot right now. I got my certificate in October. So, but a lot of that is just understanding when you're doing turns or when you're accelerating, decelerating, and you want to set the DG. You don't never set the DG unless you're like on a calm straightaway thing like right here. Yeah. So if I'm turning, and again I might have to go over this again because you're not gonna remember everything. That's why you keep your test materials and stuff. Magnetic dip, if I'm taking a turn, it'll tell me if the compass is going to turn in advance of my turn or not, and that way you can kind of get a true heading. If you notice this thing right here on the screen that I'm circling, in the real life this will say to turn true north. It'll give you the direction it should be on the compass, because again the electronics in the plane play with the magnetic fields. We're going to go over Kessler Air Force Base next. Yep. So that's what they mean by magnetic dip. That should all be in the book that you have. And Gulfport is out there in the distance. Right here is Kessler Air Force Base. And again, we're over there across Delta. So I got to get some weather here. So excuse me if I focus on flying for a second. Alright, ADDONS 119.45. Again, that information I have written down my flight plan, but I also have the section that says it. So here we go. Runway 32. Altimeter 20907. We reset that right now. We're going to go runway 32. And the winds are calm, so. Now, in the real world, we would call up and already be in talk with approach and everything, because it's cross country and it's like 90 something nautical miles, so, you know. Oh, dude, that, how cheap is it? It all depends on consistency. I have a family, and I have a disapproving wife. So, it took me, I knew it was going to take me longer, too. Believe it or not, I paid for all my training with my Eric DIY YouTube channel over time. But it took me about a good $20,000 to finish everything. I'm talking everything, like all materials and everything. And that was over 3 years, again, because I couldn't train consistently. Instructor for me was $50 an hour. It was actually a gentleman I worked with before me, so that's about right. And if you want to do a 172, the cheapest one was $125 an hour. I did, that's all you know, US dollars with me. I I did the 152, which started at 95 an hour, then went up to $100 an hour. Yeah, but that was over 3 years. I will tell you this, you should train twice a week if you can make it happen. The weather in New England up here, because I'm in Massachusetts, is a problem. It can change a lot, and yeah. So, on average, it takes 70 hours. And, yeah, but see, I knew it was going to cost extra. That's the whole thing. I knew it was going to, it's just with kids and a wife and consistency. But I had a means. I had the other YouTube channel, not the Eric Flight one. I had another one that was making me some money. So, yep. And it still pays for all the flights nowadays, too, so it's totally worth it. Let me put it this way, no friends have offered to chip in for any flights they've taken with me, and they're great friends, just, you know. Alright, runway 32 is at an angle. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the north. We're going to descend. I didn't even check to see if there's air traffic control. This Houston Center. I'll try them again. Excuse me while I fly for a little bit. Flying noise comes first. But the voice server's been acting up tonight, so let's see if we can get them. Houston Center, November 489 Echo Foxtrot.
November 489 Echo Foxtrot, Houston Center.
Cessna 9 Echo Foxtrot, we're about 10 miles to the east of Gulfport. We're going to be landing there with the latest ADDONS for runway 32 hopefully, but I'd like to double check that with you.
Cessna 489 Echo Foxtrot, continue your left downwind for runway 22, go.
Left downwind, runway 32, 9 Echo Foxtrot.
And Cessna 9 Echo Foxtrot, report turning base.
We'll report base, 9 Echo Foxtrot. So yeah, it was quite the undertaking, but I knew what I was doing.
Continental 1036, SIMD of the Takeoffs 4, runway 27 transition.
I knew it was going to take me a while longer, and when I really got the training going to twice a week, it's because I earned more on YouTube, honestly, and by the time I got to the check ride, I must have done easy $1,000 in a month just to train for that, between instructing and soloing and getting all the maneuvers really down by myself just to reassure myself. But it's easier once you get the certificate, because then you can fly when you want to. You still want to be consistent though, because it's true, if you don't use it, you lose it. So that's why the sim's good, just to practice cross-country procedures. I know it's more useful for instrument training, which again, I hope to take in the future. It's just I'm trying to get the cross-country time. You're supposed to do the secret of night flight is just knowing your visuals and knowing what's available to you, and not trusting all your visual cues as well. Like, you're gonna scan the sky differently. You're gonna look over there. Yeah, it's not impossible to fly in the winter though. I've actually flown with snow all over the place, and I wouldn't do that a lot if they didn't plow, but they do a pretty good job plowing here, so. And I'm based out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, so they're pretty good, because the Plymouth, Massachusetts is the most used general aviation airport in Massachusetts, so, and we get some Falcon jets in there and stuff, and, you know, snow, you know, I mean, you know, snow will help you in certain ways. Any type of precipitation, rain, if it's really very windy, it'll go a certain way. I'll tell you where the wind's coming from. Difference from the sky and the ground on it, it could be pitch black, just like it is in the distance here. It could be pitch black, and you just have to kind of know where you are. Right now I know Gulfport's there, and I'm going to go for a left downwind from runway 32, which is this runway going that way. I'm sorry I didn't give you as many visuals. Let's give you one now. You won't be able to do this in real life, but I I'm just looking at this runway right now. I'm going to fly around here to left downwind and land into 3-2, and I have to call base when I get over here. So I did have to get down an altitude, and pattern altitude was, I didn't even tell you that, 29 MSL, so we're talking 1,029, about 1,000 MSL. I'm still at 2,300 and descending, so it's just a cruising descent down. Yeah. Honestly, it's just not trusting things. I mean, we do learn how to read instruments somewhat. You know, it's kind of a combination of that at night too. They're gonna make you put the hood on when you go for a check ride, and they're gonna make you do actually MSL, because it's 1,000 before above the ground level, yes, but the MSL altitude is 29 at the airport, show on the sectional, so you add 1,000 to that, so pattern altitude's about 1,030, but again, you estimate 1,000 is fine, you know. So no pilot's gonna be up there saying, "Oh, you were 29 feet off," you know. Feels like 1,050, about 50. You should be within the 50 range. So, for example, Plymouth is 150 MSL. So pattern altitude there is 1,150, and you do want to count that 50. So, this is a good question. I think it's the most questions I've ever had on the stream, so this is good. If I don't know the answer, I'll let you know. I'm trying my best. Is it impressive? It takes a lot of learning. Well, if it's 150 MSL, you add 1,000 to that, so you have to be 1,150. Seeing that I'm under 50 right here, it'd be 29 MSL at this airport. I'm just going to 1,000 and calling it a day there because it's under 50. So if it was like 55, I'd round up to 1,100 or 1,150. You know, I mean 1,050. Sorry, and go from there. So. Okay, it's just so that you can see traffic in the pattern. So, there's nothing wrong with being curious. You ask me questions. I had to, when I went for my certificate and I got it, I had to answer like a bunch of students' questions from the flight school. They asked me like, "Oh, can you answer their questions before they do it?" Yep, so cruising descent. So we said for like 2,100, we're not at base yet. Now, we're going to enter the left downwind, and I'm going to show you the safest way. Safest way is to do a 45-degree angle.
And Cessna 9 Foxtrot.
Yep.
Wind calm, runway 22, clear to land.
Runway 32, clear to land, 9 Echo Foxtrot. You kind of estimate that, you know, on worst case scenario, you do like a 360 to get down more, that's all. So, usually about 10 nautical miles out at contact tower, and then I'm usually descending right a little bit after that, so probably about 8-7 nautical miles out. So, yeah, you could do that too. I mean, I want to be in traffic pattern altitude like I kind of am now, at 1,100. So, and again, we're going to intercept at a 45 because in the real world, if you have traffic, you want to be able to see it. So there's the runway. I am out here. And it's all estimation, just getting used to visual practice on this. So, keep it about there. Using a combination of power control to keep my vertical speed the way it is. I'll trim it out a little bit if I have to. I could have sworn he said 2-2, but I said 3-2, and there only is 3-2, so he did say 3-2. You can do that, or you can just kind of plan out what you're going to do. So I just went around the airport to descend, and then I'm going to do a left down one like he said, because this would be Class D, so that they would tell you how to enter. And he said left downwind, so that's why I kind of had to go to this side. Now I'm on the 45, and he's tracking me right now, so he knows that I'm like in the left downwind, runway 32. He's also Houston Center, so he's controlling a lot. So about 7 nautical miles out, I'd start descending. Depends on where you are. I'll show you. I know what you mean. I'll show you what I mean. All right. So I'm going to be downwind here. I'm going to try to estimate the runway to be halfway up the wing strut here. So, yep. Yep. So it's all about seeing things. Like right there, I would have seen traffic on going outbound and this and that. But we're right there on downwind, halfway up the wing strut. Now when I get to the end of the runway here, that's when I'm going to turn carb heat on. I'm going to set it to 1900, even though the real world is 1700, just the aircraft's not totally accurate. And then I'm going to start my descent. So that's where I start my descent. So here we go. You ready? Keep my eye on the runway, making sure I'm about halfway up the wing strut. A little far out, so I'm going to turn in just a little bit. Giving that visual. Alright, and I'm almost at the end of the runway, so carb heat goes on. Good. We go back to 1900, which would be 1700 in the real world. And I'm going to keep it level. I'm under 110, so I'm going to put the 10 degrees, and I'm going to angle down, and I'm descending. That's where I start my descent. So here I am. I want to make sure I have enough distance for myself to take base. I want to report base, because even though he said clear to land, I'm still going to report it, because he said that earlier, just to make sure. Carb heat will make sure there's no icing. When you get lower RPMs, it is prone to icing, and it's also in the POH that you should do that when landing. So, should be about 80 knots, going to turn base, clear it on the left. And again, everything's airspeed right now that I'm looking at right now. 80 knots descending. If I'm descending too fast, I'll trim it up. Okay. Because you're going under 2,000 RPM, so that is prone to icing in certain conditions. Any low RPMs. See, right now I'm a little low, yeah, so I have to kind of kick it up there. Low power is more prone to icing. So, left base, runway 32, 9 Echo Foxtrot. It is hot, but you just use it as a precaution. If you look at my Block Island video...
9 Echo Foxtrot, ramp your discretion. Have a good evening, man.
Thank you, 9 Echo Foxtrot. There we go. The peripheral vision is always the thing that suffers the most here. I should have already had another 10 degrees there, but that's okay. Yep, I actually had that happen in the Block Island video, so check that out on the Airflight channel. I'll show you what it looks like. Scary as hell the first time when you do it by yourself, but it's because the vaporization cools down to a point where it can freeze in the venturi and choke off your supply. Alright, another 10 degrees, we should be down to about 70, so I'll ease back here. It's better to be higher than lower. The glide scope helps, but I like to be on the high end. Now we're at 70 knots. That's good. And full flaps. Should be about 65, 60, and that's how we'll land. And I just affect the power as needed to do that, so. Landing at night, it's all about looking at the lights, and in real life you'll probably have better night lighting and find the airplane a little bit more than the simulator. So, flare, gradual flare. There we go, nice and easy touchdown, so. I'd have to look at the books again to really tell you, so. Alright, see where I'm going here. I have to focus on the flying. The FBO's on the left, so I'm going to continue down to Foxtrot. Flaps going up. Carb heat off. You want to turn it off now because you could suck in tons of gravel to the air intake, which would not be good. Yeah, you can develop ice in the venturi. So, yep, it's the venturi effect. I forget what they call that. But it can choke off the fuel-air mixture. Check out the Block Island video. You'll see what happens. Your RPMs go, and then you know you're in trouble. I thought it was a mixture thing at first, so I played with the mixture a little bit, but I was like, alright, carb heat, because I don't know what's going on, and it cleared up within like a couple seconds. Yep. 20 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 with precipitation. Lots of precipitation, which it was in that Block Island video. It was a heavy mist. So, which I knew from the briefing and the weather report, so I knew there was a possible chance of icing, because they said there was north of it, but Yep. Oh. That was hard to see that taxi, see what I'm saying? There we go. Yep. It can happen at any time. So, but the first indication is the RPM. If you check out that video again, it's going to show you ice forms in the carb heat, the carburetor, air intake with the, where it mixes with the fuel, which freezes. And, yep, right now I'd call clear. I'm going to go to my checklist, after landing checklist to make sure I'm good. Flaps up, carb heat off, strobes off. Landing lights, we're going to leave on. Actually, I like to leave on so they can see me. Pitot, don't need it. Mixture is required, trim set to take off. We're good. And transponder I like to leave, and they want you to leave till you get to the apron. Alright, so with that, let's go back to the airport diagram. Because you're going under 2,000 RPMs, and with the less RPMs, it's less heat going in there, and ice can develop due to the same type of things. Alright, we're going to go straight across Foxtrot to the FBO, just straight ahead of us. So maybe that building over there. Yeah, it's just standard operating procedure for landing a Cessna 172 and the 152 is that you put on the carb heat for like anything 2,000 and below. It just becomes part of the standard flow of doing landings. Yeah, and different planes have different procedures though. Humidity and freezing conditions. Yeah, I'm gonna send you a link to that video so you can. I'll try to bookmark it to the point where it's doing its thing. But let me pull into the FBO here, and I'll show you. Good time. Maybe I can even stream it. I don't know. Let me see if I can stream it for everyone. All right. Park this thing at the FBO here. We did arrive here at Gulfport, and everything's good. We'll keep it at 1,000. Keep the engine going at a good rate. All right, securing ELT verify silent. Avionics off. Radio's going off. Transponders going off. You want to turn all lights off that you can, other than the beacon. And also, I'll keep the panel lights on for now. Okay. Alright, mags off. Mixture full lean, sorry, whoa. Mags off, master off, lights off. And parking brake, which we almost never use because it's hydraulic, and if there's a problem with your brake lines, it can ruin and give you a really bad day. But, alright, let me see if I can get that video of carb icing. I was landing in the Block Island. The weather report said there was icing north of Block Island, so it wasn't like really at Block Island, but I was like, I'll be ready for that either way. And give me 1 second here. Try to get it right to the point where I had carb ice, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. So here we go. Alright. And actually I will be able to stream this. Give me a second. To it here. I think it's around here. Alright. Everyone see this? Alright, so here I am landing at Block Island for the first time. I'm over Rhode Island Sound, so there's all water around me, so I'm at like 6,500 for an altitude. Again, higher altitude, more time to land somewhere, especially when you're over water. And since then, I wear a flotation device now at all times when I go over water like that, so. But, I think it's right about here. Yeah, alright. So listen, I'm descending to get down the pattern altitude. I'm checking everything here, so. Province approach just, basically said your VFR. Checking the weather Block Island, I'm getting ready to land. I'm going to do the CTAF there because it's non-tower airport.
At 10. Visibility 10. Sky condition.
Now watch this RPM gauge. Let me see if I can do a full screen on this. Oh yeah, I can. Here's the RPM gauge. You're going to see that go up and down with the carb icing.
Altimeter 3009er.
Block Island traffic says the 249er is approximately 10 miles to the east going to be landing on runway 28. We're going to overfly the airport and set up a 45 runway 28, 249.
Here we go. Watch the RPM gauge here. See how it's going up and down? That's an indication of carb icing right there. And they tell you that in your training, but they can't really emulate that. So the first time you actually go through it, you're kind of like, oh crap, what the hell's going on? So I thought it was a mixture thing, seeing that I was descending, but it's pretty good. Put the carb heat on, look how fast it clears. That's it, it's done. And just leave the carb, leave it on. It's gonna be less efficient for the engine to do RPMs, but better to survive, so.
But know what I'm doing, so doing okay.
And that's it. We did a successful landing after that, so. But I left the carb heat on sporadically because of the mist. So high humidity. This was December 23rd, so it was just cold temperatures with humidity. So, see if I can show you the landing here. So that's Block Island, which is an island off Rhode Island, which is where I grew up. Yeah, the restaurant was closed too, so it wasn't even worth going up there. This is pre-COVID though. But I wanted to go there, see how I was there. So I'm overflying the airport, I think at 3,000. And I have done spins, yeah. I actually made my instructor go over a spin or two in the 152 with me, so. Honestly, I would say you want to experience a spin or two just to know what to do in case that would happen. But to get in a spin, you have to be in a real bad place to begin with, so. But we just did a basic one spin just to get used to it with the rudder, hands off rudder, break it with the. I'm actually downwind here, so, yep. Yeah, it's hard to spin a 152 also. The 172 is like a big 152, so. But I'll tell you one thing, this is a cool flight when you don't have carb icing and scaring you half to death. Oh yeah. I'll just show you this video and we'll call it a night, guys. And girls, if there's any girls out there, I don't want to take away from them. I know I think it's either commercial or I know flight instructors have to do spins as part of their check ride. Commercial, I don't know what it is there, because honestly, I love the spins. I was having fun with it. You know, people usually crap their pants, but you know, it's just that the 172 and the 152 are inherently pretty stable flying. That's what it is. So you really gotta get that rudder across with the aileron. Yeah. Okay. Kind of, yeah. It's like the plane turns over, then you just come out of it. If you ever get to fly down here, Block Island is a very nice place to fly to. Even though this is winter, if you go during the summer and there's no COVID, usually it's a very bustling place in the summer. So, but you got the wildlife refuge here, so you don't want to fly there. There's certain areas. There's some windmills off to the left over here. Not that you have to totally, you just plan for it, you know. So. There we go, you'll see the runway coming up right there. There's the airport. It's a pretty short runway too, so you kind of have to stick it. Pretty good. Sorry about my face disappearing. I don't know if I like this X-split cam. I tried it tonight just to see what it was like. Goes inverted. Just a half inversion, yeah. It's fun. So yeah, you can see that you can make it even with carb icing. You just gotta get that carb heat on. And then I didn't have any problem getting back after that, so. But if you don't know what you're doing, and you get wicked nervous, which it's normal to be nervous, but if you get so nervous that you're paralyzed, you're not trained right, you can have engine failure, and then you have a bigger problem. Especially if you're over Rhode Island Sound and you're at like 3,500 because you were descending. So, yeah, this is the days of me having 2 cameras with no filters, so we learned a lot since those days, but it's not a bad video. So yeah, this is shortly after I got the private pilot, like 2 months later. And then starting in March, I had to take 3 months off because they weren't renting for 3 months because of COVID. So it's all good. But yeah, it's a pretty nice place. I think I have some pictures too. Right at the end of the video here.
Says the 249er is clearing runway 28 at Buck Island.
Yeah, you just let go of the controls, opposite rudder to where you're spinning, and then if you have to brake it, sometimes you push the yoke in to break the spin. So, but yeah, it's you know, honestly, people get more trouble by trying to turn the aileron more or this and that. So that's why you should get trained for it.
Stop in for a little bit.
But
That way I can save in the
yeah. Well, I'm glad that we're having all this talking, because I gotta be honest with you, this is a good chat right here. So.
Box up, copy, DOS goes off. Yes, lights as required.
And I had to pay $10 to go to that airport for like 10 minutes. Because like any airport in Rhode Island, they charge you a landing fee. It's usually 5, but Block Island's 10. And I wanted to eat at the restaurant, but it was closed. So yeah, hey, no problem, man. Anytime. Yeah, because I won't remember everything either. It's a good review for me too. Thanks. Well, I appreciate that, and I'll keep working on it. So, any questions, you know, feel free to just chat with me, and definitely come back. But there's the 249er. I flew into there. It's a 152. Little panoramic view. That's the terminal right over there. It's the restaurant. You pay your parking fee in there too. So, yeah. And that's my $10 picture of me in front of the Block Island State Airport sign. So, all good. But, yeah, I'd like to really thank you for showing up tonight. It was great. It was great to have a lot more newer viewers on here, and glad I can answer questions. And remember, not everyone's going to remember everything, so there's no one perfect here. So it's good to ask questions because it helps me out in remembering everything. So it makes me feel better. But thanks for the follows, guys. Thanks for showing up tonight again. And we're doing around the world the U.S. flights here, around the perimeter here. So we end up in Gulfport tonight, and we'll pick up from there. And probably through the fall I'm going to be doing this. I did this type of thing on the simulator last year, but it's good to practice cross-country skills when I do that. But, alright guys, well, listen, have a great night. Tune in with me later on, and keep looking at the Eric Flight YouTube channel. I hope to get some more real-world flights up there. And we'll just keep documenting things, and go from there. Alright, well, thanks. Have a great night.